Welcome to the Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva, and today we're going to get some insight into education at the college level. My guest today is Scott Doty. He is the CEO and founder of BrainStorm Tutoring Arts and thescottdoty.com. And welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Yeah, so usually I start my guests where you went to college. So where'd you go to school?
I went to a fabulous little college right outside of Boston called Tufts University.
Ah, fantastic. So let's just go back in time a little. Basically, when did you start looking at college? Was it freshman year of high school, senior year of high school? When did it all begin for you thinking about going to college?
Okay, so I'm the oldest of four kids, and my parents were clueless. So we did a lot of things wrong. We learned a lot of the wrong way to do things, and so I'm a bit of a cautionary tale, actually, about how things not to. And so my subsequently, my siblings did very well with their process. But we started probably about junior year. I started researching in earnest, and I was also being recruited, so there was a sports aspect to it. But basically, junior year is when I realized, wow, college is a real thing. I should start thinking about it, you know?
Great. So you go to Tufts. What's Tufts like?
Well, Tufts is a beautiful little school just outside of just out of Boston. It's along a little fun little called the Red Line, a train line that comes out of downtown Boston. And a couple of the other stops right nearby are MIT and Harvard. So it's a really intellectual environment in general in that part of the world. It's a really fun place to be a college kid. So I met a lot of interesting students from all over the world. And Tufts itself is hilly and beautiful, has a view of the city, and has incredible programs from everything from engineering, which is what my wife did. I met my wife at Tufts, and she was an engineer there, to what I studied, which is international relations. And it's just incredible and draws kids from all over the world who want to learn international politics, economics, languages, philosophy. Is an amazing education.
Wow, fantastic. So you graduate from Tufts. How does one go from graduating from Tufts and creating BrainStorm Tutoring and thescottdoty.com?
Right, not directly. This is a circuitous route, as I think we all have, this life journey. I certainly did not major in tutoring, right? I didn't even do a business degree. Basically, when I got out of college, I won a scholarship. I was very privileged to win a scholarship to pay for a master's degree. And between my undergrad and my master's, I had about a year and a half to kill before I was going to start this next phase of my life. So, of course, I moved back in with dear old mom and dad, and I was broke, and I didn't know what I was doing with myself. I didn't really have a clear professional direction, actually. And so I thought, all right, well, I don't know. I guess I'll just hang out in my hometown and see some people and figure it out. And I visited my old high school, and I talked with my guidance counselors. I wanted to just say hello to some old friends and some old teachers. And the guidance office said, hey, remember how in high school for NHS, you were a tutor, like you did some tutoring. You should tutor now, Scott. You know, you've done this wonderful education as an undergrad. We have a lot of high schoolers we would love to send to you. We trust you. And I said, okay, I don't know, I guess. What does it pay? And they said, it could be like $40, $50 an hour as a starting guy. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds good. I can handle. So for me, that was big money. And I thought that was exciting. And I said, this is, it's worth a shot. So I started doing it and I loved it and I was good at it. And I have teachers all throughout my family, performers, people who, social workers, people who just love to serve others. And so I have a servant heart and I just immediately loved the work. And so by the end of this year and a half, I decided, wow, this is what I want to do. I want to be a teacher, but on my own terms, in an entrepreneurial sense. I want to build my own company. And so I decided my master's would be in business so that I could specifically learn how to build a tutoring company when I came back.
Ah, fantastic. So how long have you started this then?
Well, so I started that back in 2003. So what is that now? 18 years. Wow. So yeah, so BrainStorm has been, I've been a full-time academic coach doing, school subjects, test prep, college admissions. I've been doing all that stuff full-time for basically 18 years. BrainStorm has been officially incorporated for, I think, 15 and a half or 16 years.
Wow, fantastic. So now let's get into both your scottdoty.com and BrainStorm.
Yes, sir.
What do they both do? What do you actually do there?
Okay, well, Yeah, interesting. Good question. Well, more important than the what, although I'll come back to that in just a moment, is for me the why. Like why we're doing this is that I come from a place of having seen the difficulties of navigating high school, the peer pressure involved, the intense pressure of going to college and getting into the right brand name. And I've seen my peers really suffer emotionally and psychologically during that process. And I think we all sadly have seen cases of kids, turning to drugs or suicide and so forth. And it just breaks my heart. So for me, this is a mission to save lives, literally, and to empower students. What I always talk about is I like to empower students through intellectual strategies, through executive function skills, and through long-term personal wellness habits. And so my goal is always long-term success, but oh yeah, by the way, we'll also get outstanding short-term outcomes that are numerical. All right, so that's always been my heart and my mission here. And so BrainStorm is just an extension of that. I'm involved in several other companies, but all of them have that same kind of driving mission, is to make an impact on kids. And my sweet spot is kids ages 14 to 24. That's just where I'm at. But BrainStorm has grown to be 75 people. And so there are 75 people on staff, and some of them, their heart is for kids who are K through 4, So, it depends on how old your child is and what you're looking for. But BrainStorm now has people who can help with school subjects and test prep and college admissions, but also with executive functioning, also with specialized academic coaching, meaning like students who have special learning needs, IEPs, 504s, navigating that. We have a Spanish immersion preschool. We do a lot of interesting things, but the point is just I bring on beautiful, interesting, emotionally intelligent, passionate people, and I just let them do what they do.
That's fantastic. So I'm assuming with the pandemic going on, everybody's working from home, or do they always work from home?
It's a bit of mix. Historically, we go in person. We do in-person sessions at people's homes one-on-one, or we'll meet at libraries. We also have various centers in New Jersey. I've got one up in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, and down in Manalapan, New Jersey, and central New Jersey. But yes, with the pandemic, we have gone largely virtual. So we do all the things we've always done virtually. We have small group tutoring. We've got one-on-one tutoring. I now have a whole online course that I've developed that's self-paced, module-based. So we've pivoted and made the online thing work, and we do now have a lot of students around the country and around the world, actually. But our heart, the epicenter for us is New Jersey, New York City area, and we still have, of our 75 people, I think we've got about 25 or 30 of them who are still willing to be going in person and doing in-person sessions. So now we have a mix.
Gotcha. So now, what type of things are you teaching the students in the tutoring?
Well, first of all, I would say that tutoring is a term that the market understands, but we call ourselves academic mentors and performance coaches. And so what that means to us is that our sessions are not just a dropping of knowledge. That to me is the old model of the so-called teacher or tutor. It's just, I'm older, I know this thing, here's the knowledge, have a nice day. And for us, it's far more holistic, it's relational. It's talking about how they manage their time, how they're eating, how they're sleeping, how are their social relationships going, how are they doing with managing their energy and handling stress and anxiety. And we talk about all those things. And also we talk about skills, like how are you going to organize your time better? How are you going to study more effectively? Oh, and by the way, I'll teach you some math. Like for me, the academic knowledge is the easiest part. So all of our sessions include a mix of coaching that include academics, but are not exclusively academic.
So what are some of the issues that students bring to the coaches?
The most common one I'm hearing these days in general is from, let's say, a high schooler is, I go to sleep so late because I have so much work. And it becomes a horrible cycle. They go to sleep at 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning on a consistent basis because they're pushing themselves so hard to take all these hard classes, and they're trying so hard to keep up. And the classes ask a lot of them. And there's just this energy where we live. It's not in all parts of the world, right? We have to understand that where we live in New Jersey, New York City, people really prize education. And there's a real strong energy and commitment to education, which I think is healthy, but can go a little too far sometimes. And so I think what we're hearing from a lot of our students is, I'm overwhelmed. Basically, like I can't keep up. I'm trying to do some soccer in the afternoon. I wouldn't mind being part of this theater company or joining this youth group. Fix.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Scott, what type of coaching do you give the kids when they bring those kind of issues to you? What is it all lifestyle type coaching?
And it not only, but yet includes that. So to be clear, we're not trying to model ourselves as, or talk about ourselves as like, we're not child psychologists. That's not what we're talking about. We're not saying, tell me about your relationship with your father from when you were 4 years old. We're not doing that. That's not appropriate. But we are bringing conversations out with these kids so that they have a mentor they can rely on and open up to. Sometimes they just need someone to encourage them, or sometimes they just need someone to hold them accountable, right? And so you're only going to be able to have that kind of a relationship with a student if you build a strong foundation relationally first. You're funny, you're interesting, you ask a lot about their life. You don't just sort of have that cold feeling of like, let's just hit the math. Let's just bang out the physics content and I'm going to get on with my life. No, there's more of an energy of I care about you. So I would say that a lot of it is just about building relationship and encouraging and holding them accountable, and teaching them things like how to set goals that are fair, how to manage their energy through the day, how to avoid certain foods or eat certain foods or sleep a certain way to set themselves up for good energy for the rest of the week. And these are the kinds of things that we believe in are part of the process that school often overlooks. Something I love to say to people is that the primary reason, in my experience, and again, I'm just one human, but I've done this for 18 years full time. I've worked with a lot of students. In my experience, the primary reason that students struggle academically are non-academic factors. In other words, your son's probably struggling in Spanish or in math or with test prep, not because he can't handle it intellectually, but because he's overwhelmed in his life in general. He doesn't know how to manage his time. He's not clear on how to study properly. He feels very nervous under pressure. He feels a lot of strain. He doesn't sleep well enough. I mean, all these other factors play a big role.
Yeah. And are they all the subjects that you're helping them with?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Some people will say, just be my son's or my daughter's, overall coach. Make sure he's getting his work done in general. Help him manage his life a little bit more sanely. Encourage him. Be that mentor that we need to be in his life. Some people will just give us that kind of nice, holistic, big picture reign. And other parents will say, I don't need all that. Just help him get an A in math, right? And so we'll do what the parent's asking, but we can't help but care about more than just the grade.
Yeah, sure. Now, how about SATs or ACTs? Do you work with that as well?
Yes, sir. We do all standardized tests. So that's not to say that I think standardized tests are wonderful and that the world should have them, but they exist and we help families to navigate them. And so, yes, we have many coaches on staff who help students. For example, a lot of 8th graders have to take standardized tests to get into their goal high schools, right? There's like there's the SSAT or ISEE and others. We'll help high school students with their AP tests, with their SATs, their ACTs. We'll help undergrad students with their GRE, with their GMAT, with the MCAT, LSAT. Like we'll do all the different standardized tests, yeah.
So now, you also said at the beginning of the interview, you help special needs type students as well.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the things that those students are going through to get to the next level of college?
Okay. Well, I mean, we're working with students of all ages with that, but if it's specific, if the question's, for college age, we're seeing that a lot of them are, the challenge for some of them anyway is, everything from a processing disorder to they're on the spectrum, there's ADHD, these kinds of things. And so we're trying to empower them. And by the way, this is not my wheelhouse. I have a dozen people on staff who run that program for us, and they're very qualified and excellent. But essentially, we're empowering students with the same kinds of executive functioning skills I was discussing before. Part of it is teaching them, here are some best practices for how you can manage your time, how you can make better decisions and prioritize well. how you can set yourself up for success by honoring your chronotype, meaning that you're studying at certain times of day that works for you, and so forth. So we're giving them a lot of skills that are really life skills that go beyond school anyway. We're also helping students understand, and their families to understand what's going on with them. Sometimes there's just a feeling of helplessness. Why do I have this struggle? What does this mean for me? And so we try to help people feel empowered. Like, listen, you're a genius like everyone else. You have your own form of genius, and you just don't know. We're just going to teach you how to unlock it. Okay. And we're also going to teach the parents how to be assets to that process.
So now, when they come to you, what's the process that they have to go through? Is there some type of internal test that they have to take? Is there just, is there a fee that they pay? How does it all start?
Okay, that's interesting. These are good detailed questions. I like it. Well, basically, so it starts with a simple phone call. The phone call is free. It's an educational consultation, and I have a handful of people on staff who will do those phone calls and just take their time. There's no hurry. We really listen to the parent situation and the long, life story sometimes of the child, and those conversations last as long as they last. We really listen. We take very copious notes. Every single student we work with gets a customized experience. There is not some sort of boilerplate strategy or like, this curriculum that we force down everyone's throat. We're proudly anti-curriculum, okay? We're committed to the achievement of students. We're not committed to our curriculum. And so one by one, student by student, we forge a path forward. And so it starts always with a simple conversation. Let's just get to know each other. And my staff have been trained to ask the kinds of questions that will pull out the insights that we need to create a holistic solution for them.
Okay, and so it's just basically like an interview type process.
Yeah, it includes that. And if the conversation with the parent is sufficient, then the person on my consultant will say, you know what, I'm really clear on what you need. I'm also really clear on how we can help you. I'm now going to go back to my team and find the right person or people to be part of this effort with me, to be your academic coaching team. And in some cases, the same consultant could say, you know what, let's also add an extra conversation to bring your son in here. Let me chat with him for a few minutes to hear it from him also. The point is we take the matching process very, very seriously, right? So like I said, we have 70 tutors, but that doesn't mean that each one is a good match for your child.
Right. Now, how about the years? Does someone come to you freshman year of high school, senior year of high school?
Oh, sure. Well, yeah, we've got, I mean, as you might imagine, Anthony, we've got parents who are very organized, planning type parents, right? And they'll hire us in third grade to help their kid get their son into an Ivy League college someday, right? So there's those families. And then there are, of course, other parents who call us, the day before the applications are due, fall of senior year, and they say, save us, So we get the whole spectrum for sure.
Okay, so the program can last many years. It can last a couple of months, depending on when they come and see you.
Correct. I mean, it's just about the goals. You can say to me, look, my goals are simple. My son's fantastic. He's driven. He's on top of school. He just is dealing with a really tough teacher right now. We just need someone to help him through the next few months with this particular class. But otherwise, he's a stellar human being and he's crushing it. We're fine. And that's fine. We'll just help them do that. And then that's it. Sometimes they'll have a great experience and then call us back 2 years later and say, hey, we're hiring you again. Same son, new challenge. So in many cases, we've got long-term relationships with these families. We're working with several siblings. But in other cases, the parent will say, honestly, in general, my son needs a lot of help. He's not getting the support he needs in school. We feel really busy, or we feel incapable of helping him in the way he needs. Send me a math guy. Send me an overall kind of like coach. In a year or two, when we get to it, give me a test prep coach. And we'll just work with that student long-term. In some cases, we can do whatever the family needs.
Okay. And of course, everyone that watches the show, there's always cost involved at the college level. There's cost involved in all types of services.
Sure.
So how does the cost work at your company?
Okay, cool. Well, first of all, let me remind us, whoever's gotten this far into the interview, well done. Thank you for listening. And if you are interested, I always want to remind people the BrainStorm why. We're here on a mission to serve the world and have impact. My mission is not to get rich and buy a yacht. So the concept here is, if you have financial hardship, we have ways to help you for free. or we're happy to give you scholarships. We want to still help your family. So for example, we have a number of things that we do to serve the community and for free. And an example is, we'll work in Paterson, New Jersey. We have a relationship with a wonderful place called Oasis, and we are consistently donating our services to the kids of Paterson to help them. And so there are many ways that we would love to be helpful to you if you can't afford it. Now, that being said, if you can afford it, then yes, you can also pay for the services. And so if you do, we have at our centers, we have small group experiences. So you might pay something like $500 a month or $600 a month to be a member at one of these memberships that we offer to get small group tutoring help or classroom type help. If you want private sessions for school subjects, let's say, you're in 4th grade, your son's in 7th grade, daughter's in 10th grade. If it's school subject stuff, you might be paying $70, $80, $90 an hour. And if you're doing test prep and college admissions coaching, then it's a lot higher. It might be $120, $150, $200 an hour, depending on the situation and the coach that you get.
Gotcha. So everything is all based off of the time that you're utilizing with these people.
Yeah, we don't have a thing. I don't like that system of, pay us $4,000 up front and just hope that it works out. That's not a system I think is equitable. So anyway, our system's more pay us as you go. I really feel confident in our staff. My academic mentor team and my performance coaches are so incredible that I'm very comfortable for parents to pay as they go. And so if they have a session or two, they don't love it, they let us know when we find a different match, or they don't continue. That's fine. I don't like locking people in. To get a discount, sometimes people say, Scott, you guys are awesome. I'm not worried about it. Let me buy 20 sessions in advance and give me a discount. So we'll do that too.
So now how do students find it? How do parents find it?
Well, usually it's just word of mouth, honestly. For the last 18 years, 16 years, we mostly have built it on just doing good work. And then the goal is always, if anyone's an entrepreneur out there, if you're working your own small business, this is a strong thing I like to hit on when I do trainings in this regard. Your number one marketing budget is training your staff. The best way you're ever going to grow your company is to train your people to be outstandingly excellent at their job. So good that your clients can't help but tell their friends, right? So for us, the common way is that I'll get a call and a woman will say, "Hi, my name's Jessica. I got your name from my friend Lori. We were standing on the sideline at the soccer game the other day," right? "And she was telling me about how you helped her son and da-da-da. Could you help my daughter?" And that's often how we grow, is just because we do good work and people tell their friends. And every once in a while, I'll also put an advertisement out, or I'll get the great privilege like this one to talk with someone who's got an audience. And that's just sort of a cherry on top.
Great. So basically word of mouth, a little bit of marketing that you do, and
yes.
People are coming in now. Of course, 18 years of doing it, you probably have a following of some sort. Do you have any type of platforms that you're on the internet that people can follow you on?
Yes, sir. Thank you for asking. We do have Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram account as well. So you can always follow us at BrainStorm Tutoring. And again, I want to sort of, I guess, as a periscope out, I want to pull out again just from BrainStorm Tutoring to me personally. I do a lot more beyond BrainStorm. And if anyone wants to learn more about me and my mission and my work, if you're interested in having your student work with me, my website is thescottdoty.com. So my full name was just THE in front, the. That's where I connect with families, and people can sign up for courses on my academy. I have an online academy, or I do speeches and so forth. So I'm doing a lot of work personally for families and school institutions around the world. But if you are interested, particularly in one of my tutors, BrainStorm Tutoring is the spot.
Right. So Scott, we're coming to the end of our show. And usually I ask my guests, what advice do you want to give to the parents, the students? What advice do you want to give them?
Well, specifically for parents gearing towards college, right? That's our audience, true?
Yes.
All right. Well, so if you're a parent and you're gearing up for college, okay, I guess a couple things come to mind. First, your child is awesome. Your child is a unique genius, has a unique genius, and I really want you to believe in your child. As much as you believe in them already, double it. They're awesome. And secondly, I've seen students thrive in the long term, emotionally, not just professionally, but as a whole human being. I've seen them thrive without having to go to Stanford or Harvard. Okay, so don't feel like you have to funnel them to a certain brand name where you failed as a parent. That's a lie. What you were looking for really is a match. Find a place where the school has a match for a lot of factors, including the cultural fit for your child. I've seen cautionary tales of students getting into incredible universities on paper who just were not a good match for them, and they just did not do well. They dropped out, and it was a big hassle. So focus on fit. Don't focus on brand name is a really important piece of advice to parents. And the last piece of advice I think is, try your best. Even maybe if you might even need a coach. Like that's part of what we do actually is we coach parents through this process. It's harrowing. It's scary. It's anxiety ridden. Please sleep. Please eat good food. Please don't make yourself sick over it. It's going to work out.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Scott, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So you've been watching The Secrets of College Planning. I'm your host, Anthony Uva. Until next time.